And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at the Sherlock Holmes Baker Street Irregulars. This is a set of 4 graphic novels, and at first glance, when you open these graphic novels up, they all look the same, but they are different. This is a cooperative game that you can play by yourself or with up to 3 other players, and you are the gang that goes around helping Sherlock Holmes to solve his cases, and you're doing so. This is half escape room and half choose your own adventure graphic novel. It is the second one in this series, of this cooperative series, geared towards kids. It says 8+, but can be played with older than that. Let me show you, and I'll talk some more about it. So when you get this box, inside it, there are 4 books. Each of these books is one of the members of the Baker Street Irregulars. We got Myrtle, we got Wiggins, we got Ike, and we got Vicky. Each of them has a special ability. Like Vicky is an acrobat, Ike is a pugilist, and Wiggins is, I think, the leader of the group, an observer, and then Myrtle is a master of disguise. So what you're going to do is you have a mission log here, and the mission log tells you the rules of how to play, and it gives you multiple missions. On the back is a map, and as time goes by on this map, you'll be able to write numbers. I didn't do that because I know I'd be showing it to you. You can write numbers in certain buildings that are here, and this gives you an idea if you need to jump to that building later on. Everyone together is going to open their books at the beginning of the game and start with page 1. It's a graphic novel, and you just read through it, but occasionally you're going to get to spots in the graphic novels, like this panel here, and it will give you a choice. You can go to 121 or 232, and then you will turn to those numbers, so 121 here, and you'll see whatever it says, and you can go back to where you were at 6. Now, I don't want to spoil it here, but what makes this game interesting is that as you go to different spots in this game, you will find stuff based on who you are. So all characters are looking at their own book, but let's say, for example, this room here. So as you can see, everyone's looking at it, and it looks almost the same, except this character sees 262 here. They see a pipe. That's Ike. He might use the pipe. And so that's a possibility that he has where he can use that instead of something else. And when you go through the different pictures and look at the different things in the different rooms, it's possible your character will see something. Sometimes that will take you to a page in the book where it will show pictures of your character and you doing something. Sometimes it will say, give this information to someone so, and you work together with one of the other players. You're going to keep going through until you solve the case or until you lose. It's possible to have to start over. Each case has different stars. There's a little bit in here, and it will tell you where to start for each location. And when you are finished, you can go on to the next one. There's a solutions guide, which gives you some solutions on how to solve the puzzles if you get stuck. And there's 4 different missions that you can go on through the book. The last time I had these books, I was worried about the binding, but we've been going through these, and the binding seems to be pretty strong. The box that everything fits in is a magnetic box with a ribbon here. So you can just put all the books in very nicely, like that, and you're done. I guess the ribbon's supposed to go inside, but easy to open up, nice to put on a shelf. The whole thing is a good quality product. I really love these kind of games. The first one that I played with my kids was a pirate adventure, and we went all around and discovered different things and treasures, and it was super fun. And trying to figure out the best way through it's just really entertaining. Each character is very different, and this one's no different. Ike here's strong. There are many situations where you can fight. Doesn't mean you always should fight, but you can. And one of them's in disguise, and it's really fun because whichever one you pick, you have a special ability other people don't. You get to see there will be a situation where it works, something interesting works for you. Now you might wonder, how does that work cooperatively? Well, that is an interesting thing. Every person has a way that they could solve the puzzles. And it says you don't need everyone to play. So if you're playing with just 3 of the 4, the 4th person who's missing isn't going to hurt you. In fact, as far as I can tell, if you're just one person, you can go through, although it might be more difficult to do it by yourself. And in fact, I'll go out on a limb here and say I wouldn't even get this. There's tons of these graphic novels out there for one person. I would recommend at least if you're 2 or more, because it's also fun to go through the pages. But they say you don't need each book, so there's a way to get to each thing. So as you play this game, you're moving on this map here, and you'll go to cities, and you have to remember where you're at, following the streets, and they give you basic directions. Moving in a city, I didn't find to be that difficult. And then when you get to different locations, there's puzzles. These puzzles are very similar to an escape room puzzle. You'll get to a spot, and a person will be like, oh, before you let me pass, answer this riddle for me, or whatever. Sometimes it's really simple, but there is some trickiness to it. In fact, there's something that I learned in elementary school that I thought I would not have to use for a long time that I had to use to do well in this game. It's good, and it works really well with families. But I don't know that kids could handle this on their own, at least younger kids. It says 8+, but I would say probably 12+ to do it without parental supervision, because some of the puzzles are trickier. I didn't really have a big problem with the puzzles. I thought they were fairly basic and simple, but my kids didn't always grasp them, and I was like, well, good thing I'm here to kind of tilt them in that direction. To the point where, even though this is certainly based for kids, I could see a bunch of adults getting around and playing this. It's not a dumbed down, silly story. These are, well, kids living on the streets in the 18th or 19th century. So, they're not like la 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 la, but they also, the kids will get it, but I think adults will feel like, hey, this is an interesting story that we can play through too. They do certainly go up in difficulty, although the 4th one gets a little easier. It's interesting to see you'll cross different paths, maybe go through the same panels on the different missions, but each one follows a fairly direct path to get to where you need to go. And then once you get there, solving the different puzzles and things. My opinion of Sherlock Holmes has not improved throughout reading these. I still think the guy's a jerk. But if you have a kid or 2 or 3 and you want to play a game with them that they won't forget, this certainly is there. Yes, once you go through all the missions, you're kind of done with this. Just like if you read through a book, you're done with it. But, you could go through it again. And once you go through it once, the kids could go through it again, even if they forget the puzzles, or maybe they'll try to find a different way to get to the same spot. So certainly one that I would recommend. Now the first one in this series, the pirate one, I like that one more. Just fundamentally, it was silly and fun. This one's more thinky though, so you might like this one better for sure. That's Sherlock Holmes and the Baker Street Irregulars. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time. Dice Tower Judgment approved.